How to deal with feeling like an outsider. Today, I'm going to discuss how sometimes in life we grow up in an environment where we don't feel connected with everyone else around us. We don't feel like we share the same values as other people. And that's what I want to discuss in today's video. My name is Blaze Assign, and I help young men break bad habits, build confidence, and develop self-esteem. In my life, where I grew up, it didn't really align with my value set. And I believe that was the result of me having an immigrant father. My father immigrated from Armenia to America when he was 16 years old. And therefore, he has values that resonate more with Armenians than with, traditional Americans in that sense, especially in Los Angeles, which is where he moved to and which is where I was raised. So I was raised with conservative, traditional values. That's how most Armenians operate. And it's something that I very much appreciate about the culture, that they don't cave in on their culture. They are who they are, and they don't give in to the pressure, the social pressure of America. They hold those consistent values. And growing up in Los Angeles, it was very difficult for me because we are a very socially progressive city. And look, I don't want to get into politics and all that, but this is going to be closely tied in with politics. I don't care for the Republican and Democrat debate. What I do care for is the social values. And I know a few things that really were not emphasized and were actually ridiculed in Los Angeles and in certain cities like Boston, where I'm living right now. Things like masculinity, traditionalism, and maintaining a normal family structure, a traditional family structure that was commonplace in the United States fairly recently until everything changed socially. I valued those things. I value masculinity. I value mental toughness. Los Angeles, as a culture and as a city, a majority of people don't value these things. That's why I always felt like an outsider. I didn't feel like I belonged. And that was really hard for me. And only when I was able to venture outside of LA and go to different cities did I start feeling like I belonged to certain places. Like when I went to Dallas, Texas, for example, I felt like I belonged there more with the people and their values and the way that they talked to one another and the way that people were so friendly. Also, more recently, when I went to Dubai, I loved the place, how extravagant it was, how beautiful it was. But what I loved more than anything else was the social values, very similar to my father's values from Armenia. Obviously, it's different religions. Armenia is Christian, and in Dubai, the main religion is Islam. But I definitely related more with the people there socially, and I just felt like I fit in more. It felt beautiful being there. There was something just magical about being there. It wasn't just how beautiful it was, although it is the most beautiful place I've ever been, but it was also the way, like I said, people interacted with one another, how much they valued their culture, and they even were accepting of other cultures, although they didn't cave in on their fundamental values. And I think that's what's different between a place like that and a place like the United States, where in the United States, anything goes. And, there's a ton of people in the United States, and there's a ton of conflict. One side believes one thing, one side believes the other thing, and therefore our society is just screwed up. This is happening in the Western world, but the United States is really the biggest playground for this kind of degeneracy and all these terrible things that are starting to occur in this country. Our country is collapsing socially. We live in a society of weak men. We live in a society of men who don't believe in the importance of masculinity and mental toughness and all this stuff anymore. And we tell our men to, not eat red meat and to go vegan, and we're drinking almond milk and soy milk and all this shit. And it's helping us decline as a culture. And I do believe that men and women should feel just as empowered to go after their dreams and do big things. But we've lost any semblance of what it means to be a man and what it means to be a woman, and the roles that we each play and how important those roles are. We've vilified certain roles in society. The role a woman plays in the house, the role a man plays in the house. We've vilified the traditionalism that kept this society together. And I think that is so damaging. That's why I've always felt like I'm an outsider. I just haven't felt like I've belonged in the places I've lived. I mean, I've lived in Los Angeles, London, and Boston now. 3 places where the social values do not fit my own. And I get along with people. I get along with people if they don't fit my social values, but they don't seem to like me or get along with me or show me any kind of respect. When I share my social values, I'm instantly called the villain. I'm told that I'm wrong for holding my values because I grew up in America and I should just cave in to what our society is shifting toward, our radical social values that we're instilling. And we're talking about things that weren't even talked about a decade ago. And you're just expecting the entirety of society to just upend everything they've known. Luckily, I'm young, so I was very impressionable. And I got sucked in and manipulated. And I was, a victim of the propaganda that was dealt to me in Los Angeles. But luckily, I had a good father, good parents, and I was able to stay focused and to not let myself get sucked in by all this stuff and say, we're just going to create new things every day, every week, every month, and you just have to accept it. Even though it's never been a part of the entirety of human history, you just have to accept it because that's what we're going to do now. And yeah, if you don't get along, then we're going to exile you from society and ridicule you and, shame you for not abiding by our values. That's what's happening in our society. So, look, there are places where you belong, within your country, but it might be outside the borders of your country. There's a whole vast, beautiful world out there. I still want to go to Eastern Asia and go to China and Japan, and I have so many more places to see. But at the moment, Dubai is top of my list. The most beautiful place I've ever been. I felt like I fit in there, like I belonged. So, look, if you're an outsider, I get it. It's hard, man. It's hard being an outsider and being literally the only one in the room who doesn't agree with the whole room. Like you're in the vast minority. You're like sitting there like, man, I don't agree with this. If you can have the fortitude to stand up and say, hey, I don't agree with this, just want to let you know. Look, I live in America. It is one of the great things about America that I can just get up and say, hey, I don't agree with this. And you're not going to tell me otherwise. Like, this doesn't feel right to me. If something doesn't feel right to you, then don't cave in. Don't give in to all the things people tell you need to believe. Right? You have your own mind. You need to be in control. They like to bring the outsiders in. They like to suck you out of whatever values that you have because they're confused. They're trying to help you, right? It's good intentions. They're just trying to help you, right? No, that's not the intention. They're trying to eliminate your views. They're trying to eliminate the way that you think so that you can just abide by the way they think. And they will coerce you and manipulate you and shame you and guilt you into believing in the things that they believe in. Don't give in. Be a man. Have integrity. And that is one of the greatest things you can do. I've gained a lot of respect from people by saying how I feel and demonstrating my values. And I've gotten a lot of hate from people who just can't seem to accept my values. And it's often the people, I've said this before, it's often the people who call themselves the most inclusive that are the least inclusive. Because if you don't agree with their viewpoint, then you know what? You shouldn't be a part of society. And that's not how I operate. I know that there are people from all different kind of cultures from all over the world that don't agree with the common social narratives that are happening in this country, in places like Los Angeles and Boston and New York and outside the country in London where I lived. I know that there are countries like, the entire Middle East that doesn't align with our country, countries like Japan, which don't align with our country socially. So I'm far more accepting, I feel, than people who just say, yeah, those people are terrible and they need to agree with us. No, I don't believe that. I'll let you have your values, I'll have mine. And I'm going to preach my values because I think that my values have served humanity for a long time and will continue serving us in the future. And if we erode traditionalism, if we erode the family structure, if we erode the role of man and woman in the house, then this society is really going to continue spiraling downward. So look, I want to thank you for watching today's video. I know I went on kind of a rant, but it's so important to me because, like I said, I've been an outsider and I know how it feels, and you might feel that way too. If you're an outsider, I'm telling you, you need to stand up. Never cave in, never give in to what they say. Never let them tell you that you have to believe what they believe or you're a bad person. No, if you know you're a good person deep inside, like I know about myself, I know I'm a good person, then stay strong in your values, never give in, and have integrity. I want to thank you for watching today's video. I hope this fired you up. If you're a young man and you're an outsider, maybe you want to stand up for yourself now. If you're not a young man, no matter who's watching this video, if you can stand up for yourself now after watching this video, I hope that I just gave you a little spark. A little spark to go stand up for yourself and just say, you know what, I don't agree. I don't agree. It's scary to do that, but once you do, it's so liberating. And man, can you do it so much moving forward into the future. And, that fear will slowly slip away. If you want to learn more about what I'm doing with the Discipline Institute, helping young men break bad habits, build confidence, and develop self-esteem, you can click the link in my bio. And also check out my other social platforms as well in the description. I'm active on Instagram, posting every single day, providing you with as much value as I can. I always appreciate your feedback. Please let me know what else you'd like to see from me, any changes you'd like me to make. Please, I'm always open to feedback. And share this with someone who you might think could gain some value from it. Couldn't talk there for a second. So, look, I want to thank you again. As always, I'm grateful for you. And I can't wait to see you in tomorrow's video. I got another good topic coming in tomorrow, so I'm excited for that. I will see you tomorrow. Bye.